In 2014 to 2016, we had paper mill and bioelectric biomass mill closures all across rural Maine. And we were working with those communities to help them chart a journey forward. And they desperately needed resources just to re-envision what each of these idle, distressed mill sites could become. And yet, finding the resources to do that was oh so very hard. We actually applied as a group to the Northern Border Regional Commission with matching money from the Maine Rural Development Authority, $1.3 million in total. And we ran a process to get resources out to each of these mill towns across Maine. And ultimately, in the end, the grant committee selected Ashland, Millinocket, East Millinocket, Lincoln, and Madison. And we met each of those communities at a very different place in their journey. So in one case with Ashland, it was working on structural round timber and bringing in a company called Whole Trees to do really innovative things with construction and building out of the whole trunk of the tree. In Millinocket, it was to electrify the site, take a site that had been designed for one massive mill tenant and to change the electric grid so it could work for multiple tenants. East Millinocket, it was some of that electrification, it was some planning work, and it was helping a logistics company to fit out a warehouse to just get rolling with the next era for this site. In Lincoln, it was a whole host of planning assessment activities that ultimately led to millions of dollars of remediation and their work to bring a biofuels company to that site. And in Madison, it was to really remove a lot of obsolete infrastructure from that site so that they could begin the process of bringing the amazing company Timber HP with wood fiber insulation into this idled mill site.
That's where this funding comes in, because it jump-started this revitalization process for this facility. For over 100 years, the mill was the major employer. The mill kept all the other shops in town going because people would have to go and buy clothes and food and go out to eat and that sort of thing. And so when that goes away, it really impacts how you feel about your community. And there's the concern that all the other places are going to go away, every shop's going to close, all the eateries are going to shut down. So it was extremely important that activity took place at this site after the mill closed down. So all of a sudden, when the funding came through for this project to start bringing heavy equipment on site, bringing remediation teams and that stuff on site, to see cars parked in the parking lot across the street, people started to say, hey, what's going on? You know, there's activity down at the mill again. Still, you had this huge 600,000 square foot empty building. It wasn't until this architect and chemistry professor walked into my office and said, hey, we've got an idea. And I said, okay, here, lay it on me, right? What do you want to do? And that was Josh and Matt of GoLab, and so they wanted to make this, wood fiber based insulation. The equipment that they wanted to put in, and you could superimpose that equipment over where the paper machine was, and it was literally a perfect fit. The other part of it was you had so many local people that worked here, and so when three of those key people, Rick Vino and Marty Troy and Joe Clark, came on and they were part of the team, that's almost 75 years of collective experience in this building. So that was huge. So that was a big plus for the progress here. To see people that I knew had worked here and their parents had worked here coming back and getting jobs here at this same facility. So very rewarding as a community member, very rewarding as a person in Central Maine.
When we started in 2019, these communities were devastated economically, devastated psychologically, and really, uncertain of whether they had a viable future as a community. And so, bringing a sense of possibility and optimism to the reuse of these mill sites really affected the whole community.